Good afternoon, folks. I know it's meant to be morning glory sessions, but I'm a bit late today. So today, sort of following on from the last conversation I had about my ayahuasca experience and that Amazon implant medicine. This one's more about the lessons I learned, shall we say, or the thoughts that don't know what's going on with the microphone here today. It's collapsing on me. So one of the big revelations I had from this was that every single one of us are liars. We're all liars. Not we just we never before in a time in history has there been this ability for us to present the version of ourselves to society that we want to present. We have got this ability to, picking the post we put on, everything we do, we can decide what we want other people to see and what we want other people to think. And while this is great for maybe our own our own beliefs and what we think other people think of us, as human beings, it's actually probably the most damaging thing that could be happening to us ever. Like we get up in the mornings and the first thing we do is tell ourselves a lie. Oh, we're happy, everything's great. And then we go throughout the whole day feeding that lie, telling ourselves that same lie, that everything's great, that the world's brilliant, and that your life's the way you want to live it, and you look the way you want to look, and you feel the way you want to feel, and the job you've got's a job you want, the house you've got's you want, and and we just fill ourselves through lies, and then we go to bed. And we've been telling ourselves these stories, and they're becoming our internal thoughts. About Paddy, how's it going, mate? They're becoming our actual, we start believing in these lies. And then because we have such belief in them, we start manifesting them. So we go to bed with these beliefs and we manifest these beliefs that this is the life we want and this is the person I want to be. And because we're manifesting it, we're getting it. We're putting it out to the universe. The universe is listening to our intention, and it's giving us back more we want. And then because we're living the life that we actually don't want, the life we're trying to present to everyone, we get more of it. We get more of the same. And then we start believing that it's not good enough, that we're not good enough, that everything is like everyone else has got a better life than us, everyone's got a better chance of living, and blah, blah, blah. That's a story I told myself. I told myself that story over and over and over again for literally decades, not even years, decades. And I told myself that I was happy. I told myself I didn't need any help. I told myself that my life was exactly the way I wanted it. But really, I was comparing my life to everyone else's. And I was realizing that my life was nowhere near as good as everyone else's. My business was nowhere near as good as other guys I know. That I wasn't as good a coach as the other guys that I know. Even though rationally, I knew that I've got probably 5, 10 years more experience than most of them. I've got way more experience qualifications than them. I've coached hundreds and hundreds of more people than them. But I still allowed myself to tell myself that story. And listen, I told myself my life was the way I wanted it, and it's sort of the way it was true. Like for the most part, well, not for the most part, for a part of it, I was happy. I've nothing to be sad about. I've got an absolutely beautiful fiance. I've got beautiful kids, great step kids. I get up every day and I go to a place. Phone's breaking every time. Sorry, folks. I created a business from the ideas of what I wanted, and it's become true. But if I'm honest about it, I know I'm capable of more. I know I'm capable of much more, but I felt guilty about asking for it. You feel like the environment I grew up in. Money was bad. Because you didn't have much of it. That money's wrong. It's the root of all evil. All these bullshit stories. Money isn't evil. How you use money can be evil. But like if I'm earning $5,000, £5,000 a month, and I'm helping a few people. Well, if I up that 10,000 and all I need is 3,000, say, or 4,000 to live the life I want, Well, if I earn 10,000, that means I've got £6,000 that I can give to other people who don't have it, and therefore I can actually help more people. So this belief that money isn't good for you or the money's bad, it's a lie. It's a pure lie. It's just that the story we tell ourselves, and the story we tell ourselves manifests and becomes reality. The problem is, we live in a time where where we willingly expose all of our lives, all our story, the story of our lives to everyone, and we're left open for ridicule and judgment, and people writing things about us or talking behind our back and making us feel bad about ourselves, because this belief that, we almost believe that we have to present a certain image to the world to be accepted, and this image isn't running congruent with our true self. Like, for example, Gail, the love of my life. She's helped me so much. It's amazing, but she's crazy. Like, she's the reason why I am talking the way I'm talking today, right? She's the one that's got me into the energy, vibrations, the frequency, all that shit. But she was always embarrassed talking about that. But that is her true self. Gail truly believes in vibrational energy and frequencies, and she believes in trying to raise the vibration of the world and try and like how small, simple acts of kindness can help other people. And that's a beautiful way to live. But it's also being conditioned into us to feel like it's embarrassed to say that, like in a society where it's very materialistic, where our self-worth or how we're judging others is usually based upon the car we drive, the house we live in, the job we have, the money we have, the holidays we have, the latest phone, all this bullshit. It's very hard to actually, for the people who want to be humans, to actually come out and be human. And what I learned over that weekend was that all the shit that we're told, the multinational conglomerates, think about like, the marketing that we're subjected to on a daily, hourly, minutely basis is without realizing, none of us realize that we're just being conditioned. What we receive, we believe. So when we're receiving all these informations that we need the latest phone, that we need this, we need that, that this isn't good enough, that you need a new phone, you need your latest car, that car's not that car you had for the last 3 years. It's no good anymore because the latest models out. You must get the new car to get accepted by the Joneses. When we live the life like this, we're actually ignoring the inner self. We're ignoring the true self, the person that wants to live a certain way. In its place, we're trying to live the life that we think everyone else wants us in order to get respected, in order to be liked, in order to be welcomed into a society that doesn't really exist. Because let's be honest, you're listening to me on your mobile phone, you're listening to me on your computer. Most of us will never speak face to face, which is pretty tragic when you think about it, but maybe distance stops it. But we don't know, we can't have this human connection, and it's being lost because of the phone. We're more connected. We live in a world where we've been more connected than ever. I can talk to my friends in Australia like that, but when it comes to actual human connection, it's gone. And that weekend exposed it to me, because once I let go of my bullshit, once I let go of the lies, I've never felt happier. Now, if you've watched me for regularly, you're probably going, you can see it. I can see it. My friends and loved ones and family, they can see it. That weekend's changed me, and hopefully it's changed me forever. In fact, I'm going down to do it again. I'm going down to do it with a friend in another month, and I'm going down with Gail again on Monday to do another day, because what I learned from that was the most valuable experience. Like, I experienced human connection, proper, real, raw human connection. And never before have I felt more what it's like to be human than in that integration area. And when you were talking to people, and you were opening up you're opening up your deepest, darkest secrets, the things that you were fearful of, the things that terrified you, that you'd be judged upon, the things that held you back and made me act a certain way and present a certain image to society. I dropped that, and I was willing to be vulnerable. And that's something actually people have said to me. I'm really impressed with how vulnerable you let yourself be. That last conversation about my experience, I didn't feel being vulnerable there. I was just, that's who I am. I'm able to talk about my experiences like that very easily. I think if it can help someone else, the reality is I'm a coach. That's what I do. I coach people, not just physically but mentally. I try to use every experience I've ever had to project project a sort of story, be able to explain something onto the person I'm trying to coach, so they can then develop themselves. So that was it was an amazing experience for me to be able to open up and to be able to be honest and to be open and to be vulnerable, and to be willing to be judged, meant that the true self was able to come out, and those people in that room were able to experience the real Paul for the first time. And because of that, I am the way I am today. That willingness to be vulnerable, that willingness to drop the bullshit, and just to be ready to be judged for good or for bad, regardless, for being me, give me the confidence to speak about the things that an MMA fighter doesn't talk about, because believe it or not, I'm 44 years old. No, I don't mean that. But even though I'm 44 years old and I haven't coached MMA professionally for, God, I don't know, must be close to 7-8 years. In my head, that 26-year-old, 27-year-old MMA fighter, that 34-year-old MMA coach, that's who I still identified as in a way. I suppose it's been part of my life for so long. Martial arts has been part of my life since I've been like 4 or 5. And I always knew that I was called to coach. I always knew that my destiny, my vocation was going to be coaching. But I always held on to this, that, the ego inside of me, that ego was still held on to that, MMA is respected, fighters are respected, and almost like a bit of a fear thing. So we say, you project fear in people. People don't want to take you on, even though I'm not a great fighter. I'm a good coach, not a great fighter. But that guy still was controlling some of my actions. It was controlling my story. And because it was controlling my story, I wasn't able to then be the person I wanted to be. And probably the reason why Primal isn't as successful as I wanted to be, because I wasn't presenting myself as the way I should be to attract the people I need to attract to build Primal the way I want to build it. Damn microphone. That knock-on effect that had on me has prevented me from actually experiencing life the way I wanted to experience it. Now, hopefully, that's gone. I'm willing to do more work, and the more work I do, the better I'm going to start understanding myself and becoming acceptable. I'm starting to accept myself. And I think that is the biggest problem in society today. So many of us are fearful about what people we don't know will think about us, that we're not willing to be the true, authentic self. And when we're not willing to be a true, authentic self, that means we're living a lie. And if we're living a lie, we can't be happy, because what we're doing and what we're thinking is not running congruent. And when that happens, well, then the only person it's really affecting truly is you, and then probably is affecting other people, people close to you, the business you're in, the job you're in, the people you surround yourself with. They're being affected, because the reality is you're lying to them. If you're lying to yourself, well, then you're lying to them. And if you're lying to them, those people happen to include your children. Then what way is that to get on? How can you believe that you're going to help your children grow better, to grow strong, to become the most strongest possible version of themselves, if you actually can't be honest with yourself and be truthful to yourself, to who you are and who you want to be? It was very eye-opening. It exposed a lot to me. When you strip away all that conditioned bullshit that the world has thrown upon us, and that belief that we need to be someone else to be accepted by other people we don't know, and you're willing to, when you go into a room or you surround yourself with people who are willing to do the same, then you suddenly find this way to connect. Like, one of the conversations was, there was in the regression or integration, sorry, in the talk afterwards, one of the girls was talking about her father. I can't remember. There's something wasn't great. Well, it wasn't great about some experience in life, but she was like talking about her journey, and there was like a lot of conflict, and her story resonated very much with my life, my past life. And Gail looked at me and went, "Do you hear this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." And then it was a crazy experience, crazy moment. I know you could probably, if you're scientifically minded, you're going to put it down to just chance, and maybe it was, but there was a lot of these chances that happened throughout the whole weekend with everyone. But she said that Joe, the facilitator, asked, what did you call your father? And I think it was grandfather. And she said Paul. And I just turned around to Gail straight away. I went, she then, sorry, then Joe said, what's their middle name? And before she answered, I said, the middle name's Thomas. I know it's Thomas. And right enough, her name was Thomas. Why did I say Thomas? Because my middle name's Thomas. And all the connections, all the similarities from her story and my story, I just knew something inside me goes, that middle name is Thomas. I don't know if names mean anything. I know I'll get to know that later on in life. I know it sounds crazy what I'm talking about and probably losing some of you, but I do know that there was a connection there. And these wee small connections, they allow you to come closer to someone. They allow you to connect and to, as I said in the article there, it breeds this ability to connect. This connection breeds understanding and compassion, which leads to acceptance of our flaws and everyone else's flaws. And when you can accept your flaws and you can accept you're human, well then you can give yourself permission to grow. You can give yourself permission to make mistakes, because I think a lot of us fear making mistakes because we've presented such a bullshit story about who we are, that if we do make a mistake and it's exposed on Facebook, exposed on Instagram, and we fear what other people think. The reality is some dickheads may turn around and slobber about you or may just laugh at you, but that's just life. When you expose yourself to potentially 7.8 billion people, that is going to happen. But that shouldn't matter, because that's a reflect. If people are laughing at you for making a mistake, it's usually a reflection of their own flaws, their own misunderstandings, and their own issues rather than yours. So it was, yeah, that weekend, one of the big lessons I from this weekend, by the way, you're going to hear a lot of lessons from this weekend and probably more. But the strength there by my COVID job yet. Yeah, sure thing. You're going to make mistakes in life, and mistakes are good, because mistakes put you into a place where you can then analyze yourself, and you can make a decision. You've got an option there. You've got to make a decision. You can decide to change. You can decide to push yourself and try to step out of that person and learn from it, or you can just go back and repeat those mistakes over and over and over again. I suppose the DMT, the years of DMT and fucking all the psychedelics, I've got that message that this is life. Life, the universe, the life is repetitive. You're going to have highs. Look at your own life. How many highs have you had? How many lows have you had? But the reality is, you can't have the highs if you don't have the lows, and you can't have the lows if you can't have the highs, because you need something to compare with. And every human being is going to have lows. We're going to have deaths. We're going to have job losses. We're going to have money problems. We're going to have bills. We're going to have stress. But we're also going to have laughter. We're going to have love. We're going to have experiences with other human beings that care for you and you care for them. And it's when you realize that this is just a circle of life, that this is what you've got to do. But the key to this is there's a lesson in all of it. You need to be open to the lessons that these experiences give us, and that is how we grow. We grow from learning, whether it be a good experience or bad experience. There's always going to be a lesson to learn, and when you learn that lesson and you think upon it and manifest it and you apply it to your life, that's how we grow. That's how we improve. And when we improve our lives, we improve the people around our lives, and we influence people in a better way. And when you think about this last 15 months, the hatred, I was big one about it. I slobbered about all the mask wearers, all the people getting their vaccine, hate them for it, because in my belief they're bringing it, they're keep continuing this going. But I've also got to understand now that a lot of people are doing it because of fear, because of the corporations, big pharma pushing controlling the fear narrative, pushing all the people to tell us a story. And so people are acting out of fear. And we act out of fear, we're not in a position of love. And we're not in a position of love, then how can we be open to other people feel? Because when we're in fear, when we're locked in fear, we're thinking about ourselves. We're thinking about the people who matter to us. We're not considering the effect it's going to have on the greater good of society. And that's what they want. That's why they want us to be living, I guess, because can you imagine a world where people felt the way I'm talking now? Can you imagine how different this planet would be if everyone was to look upon everyone else as they do when they look in their own children? Can you imagine how we would forgive everyone's flaws? How we'd be more willing to accept everyone else's flaws, and would be able to find connection and find similarities that we can join together. And we can, instead of what's happening is We're finding a way to divide ourselves and hate other people instead of looking for a way to become connected. And that's been conditioning for decades. That's we've been conditioned for, first of all, it was newspapers, then it was radio, then it was TV, and now it's social media. We're always being divided because division makes it easier to control. But the minute we just drop that division and we see ourselves not through the color of our skin, not through the race, not through our political beliefs, but as human beings, we're all connected to this earth. And I want to finish this story because it was pretty powerful for me. One of the facilitators, Rosie, she was talking about, I can't remember where the conversation came about. I asked her a question, can't remember what the question was, but we were talking about, how connection of humanity sort of split apart. And I asked her something like, when did this happen? She goes, this began the moment the human being planted the first seed. Because up until that point, Mother Earth gave us everything we needed. If we had a headache, we would if we had a headache, we'd be automatically drawn to a plant that would cure the headache because we were part of Earth. We were part of nature. And the minute we put a plant in that seed, we decided to divide ourselves from Mother Earth because we said that we knew more than Mother Earth. And that plant, when we started planting, we started agriculture, then all of a sudden the plants that we weren't trying to grow became weeds. So we'd rip them up. And the animals that would come to feed on our harvest, they became vermin. So we killed them. And every time we pulled a weed up, and every time we killed an animal, we became more disconnected to the earth. And this was a really powerful story because I was like, whoa, when you think about it, like the Amazonian people, the tribes in Africa, they are still connected to Mother Earth. They rely on Mother Earth to feed them, to nourish them, and they respect them. When they kill an animal, they praise that, they pray to that animal, they thank that animal. There's something very beautiful about that. I know vegans are all like, shouldn't be killing animals, blah, blah, blah. No, but the reality is we're animals, just like they're animals. And the cycle of nature, it's feed and die and feed. We feed off the animals and we die and the animals feed off us. That is just part of nature. And the last thing she said to us was really made me go, whoa. We were talking about how we used to be able to communicate how she believed we used to be able to communicate with the animals. And she said, and it's not that the animals don't talk to us anymore, it's that we have forgotten how to listen. And that was mind blowing because when you think about it, we are part of nature. We're humans. We're part of this planet. We're all connected. Like we all know. Listen to your gut, that gut instinct. There's still that true human in each and every one of us. We just need to learn how to listen again. And we just need to realize that we're focused on COVID. We're focused on hating people because of the color of skin. We're focused on hating people because of religious beliefs. But when you remove all that mask, what you realize is like we're destroying the very planet we rely on for existence to make a profit, to get a better car. Like you're all listening, like all of us are slabbering each other about COVID right now. Fucking COVID's real, you're a dick. Fucking COVID's fake, you're a dick. And we're fighting with each other. And we're all trying to say, we're doing it for other people. But the reality is we're all watching this on mobile phones. And if we're all watching on mobile phones, that means some child slave in some part of the Congo has been murdered and killed and being pushed to work the hours for no money just to build the battery so we can have our arguments on our phone. That's not being human. That's a disconnect. Now I am accepting that and I know we're part of the problem, but I think we all need to realize we're part of the problem and that there's a bigger, greater thing here. And this is what this ayahuasca's done to me. It's fucking opened my mind to this type of stuff. But it's true. We're not connecting anymore. We've lost that connection. And because we're losing that connection, we're losing the very fabric of what it is to be human. So I'll leave it there, folks. Bit deep today, but this is the way my mind's working at the moment. So I hope to see you next week. Have a good one.